for daily fantasy. His number too high, then I'm probably fading him. He been on the road, he gon' eat up my salary. I hit a buy, he gon' lie before lock. Play back to back, then I probably won't pick on the DFS bachelor, good as it gets. Build a few liners and hit me a leg. He had a good game, but it might be a trick. Log in the Slack so I know who to pick. Sharing our liners, we all gon' get rich. New to this game, you should come to the pad. You might want some cash and get a good laugh. DFS sports, we gon' run up a bag. He heard every game and it's making me mad. You buying your lineups, I think you a cheater. DFS bachelor, he the new leader, yeah.
Hey, good evening. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Bachelor Pad. I, of course, am your host, the DFS Bachelor, and we're going to go over our Fanduel and Draftkings NBA slate for Wednesday, August 5th. 6-game slate that starts at 2:30 Eastern, 11:30 in the morning Pacific time. Hope you all had a good day today. Today was a nice, solid day for me, skipping out on all that Milwaukee nonsense. So I hope you all had a great day as well. If you are new to the channel, welcome to the team. Be sure to hit that subscribe button down below, get access to all of our content. Sometimes we'll have MLB. I'll get to MLB as much as I can. WNBA, NFL is coming. You'll be able to find me this year as well, handicapping NFL games at sportsbookreview.com, sportsbook odds, tons of great stuff over there, experts in every sport. So hit that subscribe button. I appreciate that. Hit that like video. You guys have been so cool. Thank you all so much. Seriously, like a big cheers. Cheers. Now with the NBA starting so early in the morning, we're just going to be doing these videos at night. So we got to stay up a little bit later, get them done. And, I mean, you guys are watching them in the middle of the night. All the likes, the kind words. I really do appreciate it. It's really humbling. Thank you all so much. Also, if you wish to qualify for our weekly $25 PayPal giveaway, all you have to do is like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment in the comment section. The giveaways are going to get bigger, never smaller. Size counts, right? Size matters, baby. So we're going to have some bigger contests, do multiple contests, give away some stuff. It's going to be happening all throughout the year. We're just kind of getting back into the flow of things, so be sure to check all that out. Again, I really do appreciate it. I announced the winner, by the way, for that contest on Mondays. Also, don't forget to check out Overlay DFS. Like, even on the nights that I haven't been perfect, today was a really good night. Tonight went really well. And on Overlay, I missed cashing, like the quote-unquote cashing, but I still beat the guy whose contest I need to beat, so I keep doubling up. You don't have to be perfect. It's a lot of fun. OverlayDFS.com. Hit them up on Twitter at OverlayDFS. Ask them about their first deposit bonus. Also, if even some of you who started watching when we were doing MLB, if I don't get a Major League Baseball video up, I always have the player pool set, and I'm adjusting that throughout the day as the lineups come out. So even if a player gets scratched, I'm scurrying out to the office, switching them out, putting in the proper player. So if you want access to all the research, batter versus pitcher, pitcher versus batter, here on NBA, history versus team, percentage of the time they hit value at their current price, pace, DVP, opponent's defense, history versus team, usage rates, all that stuff. And you can use my player pool. You can get access to my player pool, the players that I have selected to use in my lineup and my optimized lineups, by clicking that link in the video description below. You can try Draft Dashboard for 30 days for $1, and that's for all major sports: hockey, baseball, NBA, and of course, when NFL starts. So be sure to check that out as well. So, auspicious start to the day. Of course, the Nets were very shorthanded, and Milwaukee was doing all sorts of shenanigans. The writing was on the wall for that. We kind of talked about it in last night's video, so that didn't surprise me at all. I was a full fade on every Milwaukee Buck. Just had some New Jersey value, and they weren't as high owned as I thought they would be. I was kind of shocked by that. So ended up being a nice, easy day of cashing. WNBA went well, so everything went according to plan today. That's not always going to happen. I can assure you of that. Fuck. It's DFS, man. Like, the wins are gonna feel good. Like, tonight feels relaxing. I'll probably sleep pretty good. Plus, I have to stay up late and get up early. So, that's the nature of the beast. So we got 6 games tomorrow. We got some teams on a back-to-back. Orlando's on a back-to-back. There was one other team, I thought, or is it just Orlando? Orlando is the only team on the back-to-back. And Brooklyn. Orlando, Brooklyn, and Boston. All 3 of those teams are on a back-to-back. They all 3 played today. I was like, man, I know I'm missing a game here. I'm getting old, man. Big cheers. Seriously, man. I'm so excited by how all this is going so far. This is really cool. It's a good feeling to know how many of you all support the show. It's really cool. I appreciate it. So we got Ben Simmons. We talked about this in the last video, and he was a major window licker. And here's the situation we're kind of getting into. We're getting to the end, we're in the middle or late middle of this NBA, these 8-game playoff play-in type games as they're calling it. So for those of you who don't know, this is a little bit different this year with the 22 teams invited. All 22 teams invited were within 8 games or so of the playoffs. How this works is if the 9 seed, so basically in the East, it's only Washington who can qualify for this. They're the only other team minus the 8. There's only 9 teams from the Eastern Conference invited. Washington, if they can finish within 4 games of the 8 seed, they would then have a playoff type play-in, sort of like the 65th and 66th team in the NCAA tournament. And how that would work is they would then play the 8 seed, who right now is Orlando. I wouldn't be shocked if that ends up being Brooklyn, but hey, Brooklyn's going to be in the playoffs. With that fucking roster, Brooklyn's going to be in the playoffs. But, so, if they finish within 4 games of the 8 seed, those 2 teams will play a play-in to get that final 8 seed to go on and face the number 1 seeded Milwaukee Bucks. Well, it looks like it's going to take something very strange for it not to be the Milwaukee Bucks. I think Toronto's still mathematically can catch them. But it's not. Let's just put it this way. It's not going to happen. And then the 9 seed would have to beat the current 8 seed. So let's say it's Orlando. They'd have to beat them twice, while the 8 seed would only have to beat the 9 seed once. So in the East, it's pretty much done. Washington's 8 games back. It's probably not going to happen. Washington has to win tomorrow to stay mathematically alive, I believe. In the Western Conference, that is not the case. You've got a bunch of teams not only battling for the 8 seed, but they're all battling for the 9 seed. Sacramento, Phoenix, New Orleans, San Antonio, and Portland are all within 3 games of each other. Portland would be the 9 seed right now. Then you have Memphis 1 game above them at the 8 seed. Now, the first 7 seeds are locked up. So, but you do have some teams. We got to kind of see what these teams are going to do now with not a whole lot to play for. So far, the rotations have been pretty good. I mean, there's been a little bit of resting and stuff, Indiana, etc. In the West, you got to kind of look more like how many of these teams are battling to avoid the Clippers or the Lakers in the first round. Right now, Denver's only 1 game back of the Clippers. I'm not sure the Clippers give 2 flying shits. Devin Booker hit that amazing game winner today and yelled game in Kawhi's face. I fucking love that. So there's a lot to play for those types of teams, and we're just going to have to see how this plays out. We're going to start seeing probably some interesting rotations as we get ready for the playoffs. Even though these teams had a nice rest, you don't want to risk an injury before the playoffs start, especially if you have title aspirations. So it's something to keep an eye on. Ben Simmons, 8K on Fanduel, 8-7 on Draftkings. Washington, 25th against opposing. Well, they have him at point guard, but we know he's playing power forward now. They're starting Shake Milton at the point guard, Josh Richardson at the 2, Tobias Harris at the 3, Ben Simmons at the 4, and Embiid at the 5. It's a good matchup, a 30, a 40, and a 46 in his last 3. Doesn't have any 50s in his last 5 against him. Here's the thing. I think he's totally fine on FanDuel where you get that extra point for blocks and steals. But on DraftKings, he's more expensive. And, on DraftKings, you get that extra half point for making 3-pointers that you just don't get on FanDuel. And Ben Simmons isn't making any fucking 3-pointers. So Ben Simmons on FanDuel, sure. I mean, he was terrible the other day. We know it. Only played 25 minutes. That's going to be the risk with virtually everyone. Like, how hard is Toronto going to play their starters? How long? What do they have to fucking play for? Nothing. They're not catching Milwaukee. They're 4 games up on Boston. I mean, they're going to play either Orlando or Brooklyn, and that's that. And I don't think they give a shit which one it is. I guess you'd rather play Brooklyn, who's a 7 seed right now, but they could drop to the 8 seed, but, so you kind of wonder what's going to happen there. John Morant, Memphis, we talked about it. Memphis needs to win. No Jaren Jackson Jr. He's going to have a little bit more of the offensive load on his shoulders. Title of a sex tape. Congratulations. At least it only hit him in the shoulders, right? I mean, there you go. 7-5 on FanDuel, 8K on DraftKings. Utah is 18th against opposing point guards. It's a little bit of a revenge game for Mike Conley, even though it's too bad the game's not in Memphis. Technically Memphis or Utah's the home team, but, Mike Conley played a long time in Memphis. He's a decent defender. He's not, I would say he's still a good defender. He was exceptional in years past. That's not the case this year. But I do like John Morant's upside, of course. Chris Paul. Now, Oklahoma City, they're certainly battling to stay ahead of Dallas. Right now, Dallas and OKC are within a few games of each other. Oklahoma City needs to catch up to Dallas in games played, but they have the same amount of wins, and they would like to stay in that 6th seed and play right now Denver or maybe Houston or maybe even Utah. They're all really close. The Clippers, Denver, Houston, and Utah are all within 3 games. The Lakers have already clinched the 1 seed. And it's safe to say teams are trying to avoid the Clippers in that first round. And probably Houston. I don't think many teams would be excited to play Houston in the first round either, even though James Harden chokes in big games. But Chris Paul against the Lakers, 36, 35, 36 his last 3. 7-3 Fanduel, 7-9 DraftKings. I like him more on Fanduel at that price. Don't think I can pay 6.5 for Dejounte Murray. Now, listen, Denver's going to be short in the backcourt again. Jamal Murray is questionable again. I'll be surprised if he plays. Gary Harris has already been ruled out. Will Barton's already been ruled out. So it's going to be more of the Torrey Craig type deal back there. So it's a much easier defensive battle against San Antonio, who also needs to win to get. They need to be the 9 seed and within 4 games. Like, you might have multiple teams within 4 games of the 8 seed, but only the 9 seed, if they're within 4 games, gets to play that little play-in series against the 8 seed. I'll prefer Mike Conley in a paced-up game against Memphis. 6-2 on FanDuel, 5-8 on DraftKings. I like his price on DraftKings. You can see he hits value 52% of the time at that price on DraftKings. That stat comes from right over here. Basically what that's telling you is if he was at that price on each site, so if he was 6,200 on FanDuel all year long, he would have hit 5 times value 39% of the time. If he was 5,800 on DraftKings, he would hit value 52% of the time. Handy stat. I like that quite a bit. I like Mike Conley. Derek White, man, that's a lot for Derek White. I don't know if I'm paying up for either Spurs guard. I'm sure they both have 50-point upside. One of them very well could go off. I just don't love playing fucking Spurs. Even though it's a little bit paced up. It's a paced down game for the Spurs, paced up for Denver. Jamal Murray, we talked about that. Ish Smith started over Shabazz Napier. I mean, I'll take the savings at 4-8 on DraftKings. I don't really like either one very much. Philly is very good defensively against opposing point guards. Monty Morris, 4-5 on FanDuel, 5-1 on DraftKings. He's only in play. I mean, he's still going to be in play without Barton and Harris, but especially make sure Jamal Murray's out. Again, you can follow me on Twitter at DFS Bachelor. Soon as I find out, you guys will know. Do my best to filter out some of the nonsense information that you don't need as well. Trust me that I get woken up at 2:30 in the good morning by Adam and Schefter with his bullshit tweets. Sometimes it's Field Yates telling me about some fucking marathon he's running at, and it pisses me off. But, I mean, those guys have really good, like, inside type stuff that you get right away, and you know it's verified. You're not getting some stupid rumor from some idiot that says, you know. I have a friend, man. He hits me with these dumbest fucking sports stories all the time. Hey, did you hear about this? And I'm like, dude, that's not even true. Yeah, I found it on, Woody Woodpecker /MLB.com. I'm like, oh, God, you're an idiot. So, it's important to follow people that you can trust. Jerome Robinson. If I'm playing one of these listed as point guard on FanDuel here from Washington, he's the one. They're already out of the playoff picture. I mean, I guess technically they're in it. They have to win every freaking game from here on out, I believe. I'm pretty sure that's what they need to do, and they need Orlando or Brooklyn to lose the rest of their games. It's something insane like that. So this kid's going to get a ton of minutes. You can see the last 3 games, first 3 games, 31, 27, and 28. Showed some 30-point upside. He's 4-4 and 4-8. I could go there. D'Anthony Melton could fuck off. Now, you could see them go a little small. I don't know why all of a sudden his minutes have been cut down, especially without Tyus Jones there. I just don't understand it. Maybe it's still the residue left of idiocracy left over from David Fizdale from years past. Who knows? I mean, that was a while ago. But maybe they play a little smaller with Jaren Jackson out. I'm not going there. Shake Milton's going to start, play 25 minutes. He's 4-3 on FanDuel. Much better play on FanDuel than DraftKings, where he's 5-4. Kemba Walker will rest tomorrow, so you will see Brad Wanamaker play in the 20s. He's 3K on DraftKings. So 4-1 on FanDuel, probably not. I mean, you'll probably see Tyler Johnson. He could rest tomorrow. Who knows what the hell Brooklyn's going to do tomorrow? They should be getting, he's been starting, but they may rest him now because of the back-to-back. And Brooklyn's going to be in the playoffs. This fucking team's going to be in the playoffs. It's despicable. It's ridiculous, but they're going to be in the playoffs. I mean, who would you rather see in the playoffs? Just take Portland from the West or New Orleans and just get the hell out of here, Brooklyn. But, they come out, they beat Milwaukee today. Obviously, Milwaukee wasn't trying all that hard, and I'm sure Milwaukee wouldn't mind seeing Brooklyn drop down to that 8 seed and facing them in the first round. I think that's probably part of why they did what they did today. Orlando certainly poses a much bigger challenge than that current roster of Brooklyn does. Chris Chiozza, I mean, he started today, but that's a hard no. I think that's about it at point guard. Alex Caruso, back injury. If he plays, he's going to get, low to mid-20s. Again, the Lakers have nothing to play for now. Absolutely nothing. So staying healthy is all they need to be focusing on. That is it. Staying healthy and staying a little bit sharp. So do not be surprised if the starters play a lot fewer minutes for the Lakers. I would keep an eye on LeBron. I know he wants that assist title. I know he wants that bad. But again, 1 seed's locked up. They're going to get the easiest matchup in the first round. That's what they wanted. That's what they got. DeMar DeRozan against Denver. Normally I would say hell no because Gary Harris defense. Now it's like a slight no. I'll probably have a little bit of exposure to him just because there's not a lot of great players on this slate. Karis LeVert rested today. Should be back tomorrow. It looks like he'll be back tomorrow. We'll just have to wait and see what Brooklyn does. His last time out against Brooklyn, he put up a 63. Then you've got Donovan Mitchell in a paced-up game against Memphis. Memphis allows the 6th most fantasy points in the league to opposing shooting guards. Now, which is always the case with Donovan Mitchell. Look at his last 4 games against Memphis. He's got 2 games in the 50s. He's got a game in the 20s and a game in the 30s. That's fucking Donovan Mitchell. We've seen his floor. We've also seen his ceiling. It's a paced-up game, a good matchup. I do like Donovan Mitchell. Fred VanVleet, he looked great. Played over 40 minutes in the first 2 games back. In the restart, his last time out against Orlando put up a 52. Orlando is going to be on a back-to-back tomorrow. Yeah, absolutely. 7K on Fanduel, 7.7 on Draftkings is a bit high. I like the guy right below it who almost burned us the other night. He did manage to get right to 5X on Draftkings. That's SGA. Dennis Schroeder's been ruled out for tomorrow. He left the bubble, if you remember. He's 6'9 on Fanduel, 6'7 on Draftkings. Look, he hits 5 times value 68% of the time this season at that price on DraftKings, 60% of the time at that price on FanDuel. Lakers 14th against shooting guards. One of these guys who could kind of go under the radar. Not a real tough defensive matchup for him, even no matter who they play. Should be some extra minutes without Schroeder. I like SGA quite a bit again tomorrow. The only thing you worry about is just the defense of the Lakers, but it is paced up for Oklahoma City. So I can go there. Marcus Smart without Kemba Walker should get the start. Now we'll just have to see how serious Boston is taking this. Do they want it? Like right now, Boston, if they stay in the 3 seed and the playoffs started today, they would play the Sixers. If they lost the game and let Miami move up, they play Indiana. Who would you rather play right now? The Sixers or the Pacers? I think I'd rather play the Pacers than the Sixers. So it's interesting what they're going to do there. It is a back-to-back. We saw Kemba rest. We already know Kemba's resting tomorrow. So Marcus Smart, he'll play all the minutes. He put up a 47 his last time out against Brooklyn. And again, Brooklyn's not fielding a team tomorrow. I mean, they kind of are if LeVert's back and I guess Jared Allen and Joe Harris. But still, that roster's terrible. They did hold their own today. Good on them, man. They even in the first half when, basically besides Brook Lopez, the starters were playing and, Eric Bledsoe was kind of easing his way back in. There you go. That's what she said. They held their own. So, I mean, that team's not going to win shit in the playoffs. Like Marcus Smart, 5'8", 6'5" on DraftKings is pushing it. But again, not a ton of great plays tomorrow, in my opinion. So, I don't mind Marcus Smart. Terrence Ross, Dylan Brooks. I mean, Dylan Brooks will play more minutes. He's 5'1" and 5'2", same as Terrence Ross. It's a better matchup for Terrence Ross, I suppose. I prefer Dylan Brooks than that, all the way around. I'm just not doing the Terrence. If Terrence Ross goes off for 30, which he's done 2 of his last 3 games, he's certainly capable. He's just so scoring dependent off the bench. He's going to see more minutes now with Jonathan Isaac gone. James Ennis actually left today's game and did not return. So now I might be talking myself into a little bit of Terrence Ross. Norman Powell, 4'6" and 5'3". Played 29 and 24 minutes the first 2 games back. A 42 his last time against Orlando. We've seen him take over the offense. We'll see how Toronto responds. Toronto really doesn't have much to play for, so a guy like Norman Powell could see some extra minutes while they try to keep their starters healthy. Jordan Clarkson, look, I love the matchup, and 2 of his last 3 against Memphis, he has a 40 and a 44. You know what he has in between those 2 40-point games? A fucking 8, because that's Jordan Clarkson, because he's a fucking asshole in terms of DFS like that. He's 4'5" and 4'7". It's a paced-up game, a good matchup against a bad Memphis defense. But you've also, I mean, his last game he got single digits. He got a 5. 2 games before that, he got a 38 on the first night back. So there's a wide range of outcomes there. But of course, you got to have exposure to him because of the upside. Lonnie Walker the fourth, his minutes went way back down to reality. He's got some upside, I guess. Danny Green can piss off. Torrey Green will probably start. I mean, 25. The Spurs aren't great defensively. He does have a 37 in one of his last 5, a 25 and a 24 and 2 others in his last 5. 3-9 and 4-2. I guess you could go there. Timothy Luwawu Cabarro. It really just depends if Karis LeVert's back and what Brooklyn decides to do. Definitely not the 5-2 price on DraftKings. That's a hell no. Garrett Temple. He and Cabarro were both pretty good today. But we just got to see what happens. Now, here's where we kind of get some interesting value, guys. Grayson Allen, without Jaren Jackson Jr., I think he sees even more minutes. I believe he was drafted by Utah, played for Utah. Was it last year, the year before? A little bit of a revenge narrative here. He's played 27 and 31 minutes the last 2 games, scored in the low 20s. He's 3-7 and 4-3. No Jaren Jackson Jr. You could see some more small ball, and he could see some more time at the 3. So I don't hate that play of Grayson Allen. Either Lou Gwens Dort is going to play 30 minutes. Now, he's not going to get you 40 or 50 ever. It's never going to happen. But 31, 30, and 36 minutes in the 3 games back. 3-2 on DraftKings. I guess I could take a small shot on that. KCP's playing 30 minutes a night, but you know the story there. Let's move on to small forwards. At small forward, LeBron, of course. Again, I am concerned about the minutes. 52 in each of his last 2 games. I don't know what the Lakers have to play for. OKC is number 1 against small forwards, but this is LeBron James. So, there you go. Pascal Siakam, 7-9 Fanduel, 8-8 DraftKings, Orlando 20th against power forwards, 36-40 and 36 his last 3. Yeah, and like in a vacuum, I like his price a lot on FanDuel. I'll probably pass on DraftKings. Tobias Harris is 6-9 on FanDuel, and then he's all the way up at 8-6 on DraftKings. I said it in the last video. I think this is exactly what was happening in the last video. I'll pay in the high 6s for Tobias Harris. I'm not paying in the mid 8s, and he put up a 41, so he did just fine in the mid 6s, but high 8s, it's not hitting value. Jaylen Brown, he's been great for me. It's a back-to-back tomorrow. Again, not a lot for Boston to play for, and Brooklyn is not very good. So I'm nervous about both Brown and Hayward, but I will have some tournament exposure there. Evan fucking Fournier, I mean, he's 5'3 and 5'2. He does have some upside. Here's the thing. If you play Evan Fournier, you want to not play Aaron Gordon and vice versa. Because it's going to be Vooch with his solid numbers. The point guard's going to do what they do, but the number 2 guy is going to either be Fournier or Gordon, and the other one's going to be way undervalued while the other one's overvalued. Today it was Gordon being overvalued. Rudy Gay, 33, 40, and then that 19 in his last 3 against Denver. But I do like the minutes for Rudy Gay. He's seeing plenty of minutes because of the absence of LaMarcus Aldridge, etc. He's 4-6 FanDuel. I like that. 5-6 on DraftKings. I will pass. Joe Ingles against Memphis put up a 37 his last time out against Memphis. 4-6 FanDuel, 5-3 DraftKings. I think he's in play both sides. OG Anunoby, look, he can go off for 35 or 50. We've seen 60. He can also get 18 and 20, but he's 4-4 on FanDuel. So I like the price FanDuel. Again, another bad price on DraftKings. Why is he 5-5 on DraftKings? On what fucking planet should he be 5-5? Doesn't make any sense. Kyle Anderson should see more minutes without Jaren Jackson. I'm fine with going there. Isaac Bonga, even if he starts, I know he played 35 minutes and got a 27, but I'm not fucking around with Isaac Bonga. If he's minimum salary, maybe. That's it. Keldon Johnson, again, going to be around those, mid-20s to 30s. I don't hate the Keldon Johnson play. I think he's going to see some minutes with Popovich. I think that's really it down here. Yep, that will do it, barring any injury news, etc. Tomorrow, lineup news. Let's go to power forwards. Anthony Davis is one I'm really concerned about. It'll just feel weird to me if he gets a full workload. Now, if he does, he has a 64, a 59 his last 2 against Oklahoma City. Certainly has the upside. Just put up a 73 the other night. It was fantastic. But, against Utah. But, how many minutes he's going to play? Right now, I like it. I'm hoping some information comes out tomorrow. Tatum in a back-to-back at 8-3 against Brooklyn. Just don't know how much they're going to need him. I just don't know how much they're going to need him and how much they need that game. Rui Hachimura, nope. He did put up a 39 last time against the Pacers, but that's not happening at his price. Maybe the 5-7 on DraftKings I can get down with. Aaron Gordon, I'll pay the 6-1 on FanDuel. I will not pay the 7-2 on DraftKings. You can see his hit percentages on the two sites. On FanDuel at that price, he hits 5 times value 60% of the time. Fine with that. On DraftKings, he only hits it 40% of the time. Not so fine with that. Michael Porter Jr. won me some money yesterday. Had a great game. Played 43 minutes in that game. Put up a fucking 56. He went all the way up to 5-5 on FanDuel and 6-2 on DraftKings. There's nothing safe about this play. The good thing is it's a weak position overall tomorrow, like especially on FanDuel where you have to play two power forwards. 6-2 DraftKings is really pushing it. Now look, we've seen the 50-point upside. We'll see if they keep him in the lineup that long. It certainly helps if Murray, Barton, and Harris are all out. We already know that 2 of the 3 are. We're just kind of waiting on the Jamal Murray news. Tournaments only. Serge Ibaka. I think Serge Ibaka's role can increase a little bit. Look, they're playing he and Marc Gasol about half the time each. So he's 5-1 on FanDuel. I'm down with that if he's going to play 25 minutes. Maybe they start giving him a few more minutes because there's nothing to play for, kind of letting him get some of that rust off. But he's 6K on DraftKings. Now, Orlando's 20th against power forwards, but no, that's not going to fucking happen. Brandon Clark, everyone thinks, okay, Jaren Jackson Jr. out. That means Brandon Clark's going to play 35 minutes. Oh, no. That's not what's going to happen. Brandon Clark will still play 25 minutes. Let me make that perfectly clear. You might see him play in the low 30s. But for the most part, I think you're going to see guys like Josh Jackson might be fine. Not Jaren. Josh Jackson will see some more minutes. Anthony Tolliver has been the other forward getting minutes for Memphis. I don't think you say, hey, we're trying to win and get into the playoffs and improve our seeding and secure our seeding by giving more minutes to Anthony fucking Tolliver. So I think you'll see some more Josh Jackson, Grayson Allen. Brandon Clark, his role is not going to change a ton. Even if they put him in the starting lineup, he's not going to be one of these 35 minutes a night every game. Remember that 34-minute game, I believe, was an overtime game. But he's 4-9 on FanDuel and 4-5 on DraftKings. Utah is 6th against power forwards. He's put up a 19 and a 23 in his 2 games against Utah, but I could go there as well. Some value players here under 5K. Royce O'Neal, Utah still has something to play for. They're trying to basically avoid falling down to that 6 or 7 seed. They're only a game ahead because to avoid, right now they're playing Houston. I think they would rather probably play Houston than the Clippers or the Lakers. They just don't match up as well against those teams. That's it for me. At power forward, yeah. Yep, that's it. Let's go to centers, make a sample lineup, and get the hell out of here, huh? I got a WNBA video to do with Dion right after this. Actually, it might be uploaded before this, but nonetheless, if you're watching this, check out our WNBA video as well. Had a great night in WNBA, too. It's a good night. Good day today. Cheers. Fucking cheers. So we got Embiid. Didn't hit value last game. Still put up a 44. Washington allows the 4th most fantasy points in the league to opposing centers. His last 3 is 60, a 48, and a 44. Now, I think we'll still see Washington play hard because they are mathematically alive. Sixers, I'm not sure really what they have to play for other than trying to maybe move up and avoid Boston. I'm sure they'd rather play Miami. Plus, Miami and the Sixers have some bad blood there and the whole Jimmy Butler deal. So all that is legit. We do have the TJ Warren, Jimmy Butler bad blood in the Miami-Indiana series as well. But, of course, Joel Embiid's in play. He's 9-5 on FanDuel. I don't know about that 10-4 price on DraftKings. That's a little steep. If I'm going to do that, I think I'll take Jokic. I'll just take the savings. The Spurs don't have anyone who can deal with him. You see in his last 3 games against San Antonio, a 78, a 66, then he had a 46. His bad game was a 46. He's 9-1 and 9-7. I like Jokic quite a bit tomorrow. Extra offensive burden on his shoulders, even if Murray plays. That actually kind of helps Jokic a little bit. He'll help with some of the assists and getting him the ball in better positions than maybe a Monty Morris would. Vucevic on a back-to-back against Toronto, nope. Rudy Gobert against Memphis, absolutely. 57, 39, and 39 his last 3. He's 7-5 FanDuel, 7-3 DraftKings. It's still too cheap for Gobert. You can see he hits value at those prices, 73 and 67% of the time. I'll probably pass on Valanciunas. Thomas Bryant is now too expensive. Jared Allen will be back tomorrow. I'm not paying that 6-7 price tag on FanDuel, but I will pay the 5-4 price tag on DraftKings. 27. He's got over 25 in 4 of his last 5 against Boston, including a 40 and a 33. Just had a day off for rest. He'll be back in the lineup tomorrow, and Boston will be on a back-to-back I like that 5-4 price quite a bit on DraftKings. One of the rare, hey, decent price on DraftKings type players today. Steven Adams was really, I mean, he was shitting the bed. He came around a little bit. He's put up a 32 and a 31 his last two against the Lakers. He's 5'8 and 5'5. I could go there. Podol, no. Against Jokic, no. I'm going to pass there. Marc Gasol, look, they're playing him in the mid to low 20s. They're basically splitting the center minutes right down the middle between he and Ibaka. Maybe Gasol gets a few more minutes tomorrow because Vooch is out there. Orlando is tough in the front court. He scores, in the 20s, 24, 24, 20, 26, 16 his last 5 against Orlando. That's about where he's going to be. But at least, he'll play more minutes than Dwight Howard is going to play, even though Dwight Howard might have higher upside in his minutes. Gasol is a much safer play at 4-2 on both sides. You can certainly go there. Maybe see a little more Enes Kanter on the back-to-back for Boston, and I like centers versus Brooklyn. So a Daniel Tice will be interesting at power forward. I meant to mention him. I'm not sure why I didn't. But big men against Brooklyn are always in play. Jared Allen is 6'8", and then I think they played Dante Hall, which we talked about today, and he was all right. He was one of the guys that went off for value. We talked about him in our video. So hopefully that paid off for you guys. So that's my early look at each position. Again, you can get access to my entire player pool, which will be, growing or shrinking depending on all the news before tomorrow. Lineup optimizer, mass lineup generator, player pool, cheat sheets for every major sport: hockey, baseball, NBA, and football. You can click that link in the description below. You try Draft Dashboard for 30 days for $1. When you do, how you find my player pools, you simply click that Watch Players tab over here on the left or from these 3 menu arrows. Those will be the players that you're watching at the current time. And if you've used my link to sign up, it's the only way to get it. You can click that blue box at the top that says Watch DFS Bachelor's Picks. It'll highlight my watch players list, so you can either take it straight to the optimizer and use my list or compare it to yours. You'll also see a timestamp of when I last updated it in Eastern time. Then you go to the lineup optimizer here and the sample lineup, so you can see the mass lineup generator here. Also, maybe you have a late scratch in baseball and you've got 30 lineups with the guy in. You need to get him out quick. You can upload your lineups from Fanduel and Draftkings, upload them into Draft Dashboard, use the late swap optimizer, get the guy out, swap him back in, upload him back into Fanduel and Draftkings. That's helpful. Let's see. Conley, Simmons, Mitchell, Richardson, Siakam, Harris, Nerlens Noel. I didn't talk much about Nerlens Noel, but I think especially if Anthony Davis can get them into some foul trouble or the Lakers just kind of bench some of their stars. Nerlens Noel's got upside at 4-4. Paul Millsap, Joel Embiid. I think that's okay. Again, I'm just kind of showing you how to use it. If you play cash games, there's a cash game optimizer as well. So lots of ways that you can go. I probably won't have any Alec Burks, but it's just kind of showing you how it all works here. Click the link, try it for 30 days for $1. Also, don't forget to check out Overlay DFS. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at DFS Bachelor. Kind of like that. I don't think that's too bad either, except I won't be paying 8.7 for Ben Simmons. That's just an easy no from me. I'll be trying to find some value. The pricing on DraftKings is shit tomorrow. I'm just gonna say that right now. But click that link. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Be part of our weekly PayPal giveaway. I do appreciate all the support. Again, thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow night for our NBA video tomorrow night. Our WNBA video will be out soon, and maybe, depending on how everything's going in the morning and how things look for MLB, we'll get a quick video out for baseball as well. Thank you all again so much. Goodbye, folks.